So now to talk about the build of my PvP build is pretty simple. It's a specialized Berserker warrior. My main weapon for my first set is my sword. The offhand weapon is the torch. Mainly because the torch does a significant amount of damage for low cooldown attacks, and Flames of War activates a combo for you, which really helps, as I'll show you why. My other main weapon is the Greatsword, which is honestly not the best weapon to use for PvP, considering the hammer and the mace has more stuns and conditions. But I like it because it fits my playstyle of being a fast attacker, and it has a deep, for a melee weapon, it has a very long range of
Eat
attacks.
my dust!
All of my utility and elite skills are the raid skills because all of them have very short cooldowns, and all of them do quite a lot of damage. So that's always good to know, good to have. Especially the low cooldowns allows you to use them repeatedly in a single fight as long as you prolong it out, which gives you an edge over other say the Endure Pain or the Berserker Sense, which has like a minute long cooldown compared to these, which are almost already under 20 seconds. 20 seconds. My healing is still the healing signet because the passive regeneration it gives is probably the best you can ever ask for, even now. Even though the other heal skills have a lot of extra things that's useful. So now the build itself, it's simple enough. Equipment I'm using, well, it doesn't matter what I'm using here because in PvP all of these are giving the standardized stats, as you can see. What I'm using for sigils is the sigil of hydromancy, which allows me to chill every enemy around me when I switch to Greatsword, which makes them more susceptible to staying in range when you want to use one of the Greatsword skills like 100 blades or a whirlwind attack, since they can't move away as fast. The other one is the sigil of fire, which is just for extra damage on a critical hit, which you'll do a lot of, as you see. Then the sigil of agility for the sword, because my build itself lacks a bit of mobility and the swiftness gives it that. And sigil of air to cause a lightning strike, but personally you could go with anything you want on this one, because personally I was gonna go for the sigil of torment because of its, torment ability. This one is up to you. Again, the rune itself is up to you, but I personally went with the rune of the warrior because of the minus 20% charge and weapon swap, mainly because this does not have the discipline straight line, so you do not get the 5-second weapon swaps, which is for me, it's quite a disadvantage since I always switch weapons really fast in the battle and every 2 seconds counts. Again, this is up to your own use, but anything that provides a good amount, anything that covers the weaknesses of the condition cleanses or stuns is a good bet pick for you. Again, the amulet is the important one here. I went with the night amulet because it gives exactly the stats I need: power, precision, and toughness. Vitality is more of a throwaway for me because it's not exactly necessary for this build. I'll show you why. So specializations, I went with strength, defense, and berserker. Now, all of these have very good minor condition. The minor traits here are good for all the classes. First of all, reckless dodge gives you the bit of damage you need when you're dodging, and it has actually helped me kill quite a couple of enemies because 738 base damage is quite a lot, considering you deal 472 with your base sword attack. Now, even with whirlwind attack, you just deal 668 damage after it's buffed, even though you deal it 3 times. So reckless dodge is pretty useful as an attack because it does quite a lot of damage. Again, this major trait is pretty much a throwaway because none of these are useful if you're thinking about it, because peak performance, you do not have any physical skills. This build has no physical skills. Restorative strength is also quite useless because I will barely ever use the healing signet in fight. So, death from above. It's useful on some of the maps like Temple of the Silent Storm, so you can go with. It has its uses in Temple of the Silent Storm and Skyhammer when you just jump down. Because again, 1188 damage and the knockback effect, it's useful. Plus, reduces fall damage on a couple of the maps. Building momentum, this is a good one. You gain a bit of endurance when you use a burst skill, which, be honest, the faster you can dodge again, the better for you. And the main ability you're looking for here, Forceful Greatsword. Now this is a very good thing, very good skill, as first of all it decreases the cooldown on all your greatsword skills by 20% and increases the damage by 10%. But what the real deal of the sword is the fact you get might on every critical hit. So if you can get might on every critical hit, this is what you're looking at. Even if you're saying a group of 2, this is what you're looking at normally. But if you say just go into Berserk mode, get all the boosts, and do 100 plays instantly, you're looking at anywhere from 25 to 20 stacks of might as long as you're fighting in a group fight. Again, a lot of the, almost all of the skills in the warrior have that ability. All of your greatsword skills have the extremely big range to go with, so you're always going to hit multiple targets, and that really helps the skill out. So, other than that, you're looking at defense, which is another trait line which is really important, mainly because of its survivability. Again, this is a bruiser build. You're going to have to take as much damage as you deal out. So the first one is thick skin, health threshold high, toughness is high. It's really useful for whatever you need. It's just a good minor skill. The other one is adrenal health, which is the one you're really looking for. Is the fact that every time you use up an adrenaline bar, you gain health. You gain health around 2,000. You can stack up 3, so you're looking at 6,000 health being healed over 15 seconds. Which is a very good regen, and it activates every time you use up a burst skill or burst skill, including any of the primal raid skills in Berserker. So you're looking at a good heal to stack on top of your healing signal. Then we have spiked armor, which is a lot more useful than you think, considering it's a 15-second cooldown, and when you're stuck with a critical hit or block an attack, you get retaliation, which is a 5 seconds of basically reflecting incoming damage. It's useful, just take my word on it. Okay, for the shields here, Shield Master is useless because again you're not using a shield. But you could use a shield in your build, so this would be useful. And Cull the Weak is again another one that weakens foe that's below the fresh health threshold and causes weakness and all. But again, I don't find it very useful. What I find useful is Dog and March. Again, this is a very good skill because first of all, since I do not have Warrior Sprint that breaks Immobilize, because I'm not using the distant trait, this is a very good replacement for it. First of all of the conditions like Immobilize, Cripple, and Chill would only last 33% less, so you're out of it a third of the time faster. But what you're really looking at is again the regen on it. 7, you regen health again, so that stacks on probably what you have as adrenal health and healing signet, just more health regeneration. Because again, the condition clears on this class is on this build is pretty bad, so you're gonna try to out heal the conditions. Again, out of the 3, Defy Pain is a good one, but again it lasts only 4 seconds and it has a 60-second cooldown, so it's very situational. For me, I go with Armored Attack, as I gain a percentage of my power based on my toughness, and because of that, first of all, the Night 7 is doing 1200 toughness, so you get 120 power on top of your base 900 power. And then you also have the toughness granted from Thick Skin, which again gives you extra power, just a bit, 18 power, but every little bit counts. But what you're really looking at is the fact that with Armored Attack, I'm using Liarsing Resilience, which gives me plus 1000 toughness, so that's another 100 power. Lasted on top of my, again, a heat and healing when you break out of stun. And the best thing about it is Headbutt self-stuns you, so every time you do a headbutt, you come out with Rousing Resilience and extra health. So Headbutt actually works as your healing skill too, in a way. A small heal, but a useful nonetheless. But again, if you're bad at matching conditions, another one you could use instead of Rousing Resilience is Cleansing Iron, which helps you gain adrenaline each time you get hit, and you remove a condition every time you spend an adrenaline bar. And if you use it in Berserker mode and the Primal Burst skills, you automatically remove 3 conditions. So it's definitely a good skill to use. Last Stand again isn't one I'd use, mainly because of the cooldown of 40 seconds, and stability and swiftness, you're getting that from Berserk anyway. Stability, fury, quickness, swiftness, you're getting a lot of abilities off it, so the Last Stand's pretty useless. Okay, and the last one, the one that makes this class, the Berserker line. First of all, the mind skill Berserk is pretty much obvious, because it gives you all the primal rage skills. And then you're looking at the first three: Smash Brawler, Last Blaze, and Savage Instinct. Well, while all of them would be great in PvE, the one you're looking for is Savage Instinct in player versus player because of the condition removal you get when you enter Berserk mode, and the fact it breaks stun, which is a great thing in a game where stuns is basically a killer for you. Always Angry gives you 7% damage and 7% condition boost when you enter Berserk mode and when you exit it, so it's a good buff to damage. Keep the Soul again is for the torch, reducing the recharge and giving a bit of a base condition damage because that's a really bit of help. Again, Dead or Alive is also a good one, but again 30-second cooldown, so it's not as useful as you want it. Blood Reaction, again a pretty good one, but I do not have Ferocity. Again, precision while high is not. I'm not going for the critical damage, so ferocity is not useful enough. Fatal Frenzy gives you the quickness, swiftness, and fury you need when you enter Berserk mode, so it's a really good skill. And Eternal Champion gives you stability and might. The best thing about Eternal Champion is that since it's reapplied every 3 seconds, you have stability the entire time you're in Berserk mode. So that in itself gives you immunity to any kind of condition, any kind of daze, stun, or anything else that can interrupt. So that is very useful when you're going on a killing spree with the damage you built up. Again, King of Fires and Bloody Roar aren't as useful. Bloody Roar is useful if you're going for a tank build, but you're going for a bruiser build, so you still take damage. So it'd be good to keep track of that. Now, out of all of them, the skill that really is the breadwinner here is Berserker's Power, which activates every time when you're done using a burst skill, and it also activates the entire time you are in Berserk mode. So you have stage 3 adrenaline for the entire time, and you do 20% more damage than you usually do. Now, a great thing about this skill is the damage itself, because you're looking at a lot of things here. Stick and move, it's usually 10% damage boost when your endurance is not full, and if you're a decent player of any class, your endurance will never be a full in a fight because you're gonna try to dodge every single attack you do. So that gives you a 10% damage boost, anywhere between 10 to 20% damage boost at adrenaline stages. Then you're looking at armored attack, it gives you a bit of power boost. Then you're looking at rousing resilience, which gives you toughness boost, which makes you a lot more tankier. Then again, there's a lot of things that just add up, giving you a percentage boost in damage that doesn't appear as clearly as you see. For example, I'm going to prove that point now, is that in the DPS trial waypoint, I'm going to show you how much damage you can actually do if you put your mind into it. So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you, just keep a good look at the damage I'm dealing and the blues I have on me, because I'm going to show you a simple combo I use in Berserker mode. Is that I start with the fire field, go into Berserker, change, and just use 100 Blaze. You're looking at a lot of moves just adding up, especially the damage you're dealing is gonna be no slouch. You're looking at 1000 damage just from basic attacks, so that's a good sign if anything else. Again, there's a lot, and again, this is the basic build. In another video, I think I'll do another video showing that some of the combos I use as a Berserker, but I think it's gonna be a bit hard to show because I need one of my guildmates or one of my friends to act as the dummy for the combos. So that'll be all for now. Bye.